Hi guys, it's Wendy from Ask the Landlady, and I'm here with all the tips and tricks to help you make a profit in real estate rentals. And today's question is, how do I avoid an eviction? Okay, so you have a tenant in there and they're, for a myriad of reasons, you may want to evict them. Maybe they're just causing a lot of havoc for the neighborhood. Maybe you suspect they're doing drugs out of there. Maybe they're not paying their rent. That's probably the biggest reason is and that'd probably be the number one. They're not paying their rent and you really want them to pay the rent. You don't want to evict them, right? Because when you evict them, you're gonna have to go into a courtroom and that could be stressful, right? You may have to hire an attorney. Some communities allow you to file and handle them yourselves. I know in Ohio, if you're an LLC, you have to hire an attorney. The lawyers all got together and lobbied for that years ago. So if you're an LLC, you're gonna have to, you can do your own 3-day notices, but once you get to that eviction process, you actually have to shell out money and have an attorney come in and handle that for you. So they're costly. You know, you got filing fees, you got your attorney, and you know, who knows how long till the judge hears the case. So there could be weeks, months where you go without rent. So I have a couple techniques that sometimes work. I'm not gonna say they always work, but they're definitely worth a shot to try to avoid the eviction, right? If you're really scared of that and you wanna do that, here's some things you might want to do. Number one is to open a dialogue with your tenant, okay? Communicate with him or her that you will be filing an eviction, okay? And make it very clear that this will happen. And so you might want to offer them the opportunity to move out over the weekend or give them a week's grace period or whatever you can do to try to avoid having to file it and pay somebody else to do it and all that time and money and effort. If you can open a communication with them and say, guys, this is a real thing that's really gonna happen. You're gonna be evicted and it's gonna go on your record, which is gonna make it hard for you to rent another place. It's gonna make it hard for you to buy a house or get credit to buy a car or go to college or whatever. It's a legal thing that can chase you for the rest of your life. So if you have somebody that somewhat cares about their circumstances, then they may be amenable to that and say that they want to, you know, try to work it out and avoid that eviction also. And so you could say, okay, leave it as move-in ready as you can, be out by Monday, give me the keys, we won't file that eviction, right? Of course, if they're not out by Monday, you gotta be prepared. It's like when you tell your kids, you know, if you don't clean your room, you're not going to the movies. Well, by golly, if they don't clean the room, you're not going to the movies, right? Because what have you taught them if you go to the movies? Geez, you're a pushover. So don't do that with your tenants either. You stand by it. If you're out by Monday, I will not file eviction. If you're still there Monday, eviction is immediately filed. Make sure you know and are prepared to do that, okay? So sometimes tenants might be amenable, they wanna leave. They know they're not paying, they can't pay, but they might come to you and say, listen, I have nowhere to go. I do not, nowhere to go. I don't have the money to go. So this is where you might want to up the ante. You know, you've offered them till Monday, you won't file the eviction. And this is called cash for keys. It's controversial. A lot of people don't want to do it. I don't like to do it. And I would use it very, very sparingly. If word gets out that you're paying people to leave, you might have a lot more people try to take you up on this. It could also maybe get you in trouble with some fair housing laws, depending on where you're at. If you've offered some people money to leave and not other people. So it's something that you want to be really definitely careful about it. But it can be a win-win situation. It can be a situation where you have, you can regain your apartment back. The tenant gets some money to, go maybe get a storage unit, get their stuff out, and you've saved money from an eviction, right? So for like me, an eviction is gonna be $451, right? That's my attorney fees, my filing fees. So if a tenant will leave for $300, so they can go get a storage unit or whatever, I'm still ahead and I don't have to go to court. And it might be this weekend instead of a month and a half from now, right? So those are the reasons why you might want to consider cash for keys. But again, be very sparing about that. Be careful about fair housing and being taken advantage of course. If you do decide to go with this strategy, I would recommend that you develop a good plan with a clear deadline and you write up an agreement. Again, just a legal binding document. Maybe you can go get it notarized, whatever. That specifies that, what each party's going to do. And on that date that keys get handed to you, you will give them the cash and make that, have you do that. Of course, you want to make sure the amount is less than the cost of an eviction, because if you're going to give them more than what it would cost for you to do the eviction, that's dumb, right? Because might as well file the eviction, because we shouldn't all people should be held accountable, right? We should also hold them accountable for what they're doing. So you definitely want to do that. Now, I make it clear still, obviously, you can still take them to court later on for, make sure that's specified in your thing, that you can still go after them later for small claims judgment for the money, because what you're telling them is, I'm going to let you go out now, and I'm going to give you the $300 because I know you need it to get into that storage unit and get out of my place, but we're also going to put in forth a payment plan, and it's going to start on this date, and you're going to give me $50 a month until all this is paid off or whatever. They miss that payment, you can immediately file it in your small claims court, where you can get a judgment and then try to garnish wages and those types of things. So there are still avenues for you to try to get your money. And I have had people come back years later, they try to buy a house and they see a nice little garnishment from Wendy Myers on there, and they bring their money in and pay it off so that they can erase that from the record. So it can work, so you still have a mechanism there to try to get the money back there, and also so that people just aren't getting away with things they shouldn't be getting away with, right? Because we have to pay our bills and be held accountable, and we should be doing that with our tenants as well. So there you have it. If you want to avoid an eviction, I always try open communication first. I always try to see what they need. What do they need? Oh, sometimes it's just they don't have a truck. I have a truck. Send a couple guys over there. We'll help you move it, right? You can be creative with that. You can do that communication. And two, is that controversial cash for keys? Have you guys ever done cash for keys? I'd love to hear about it. Give me a comment if you've done cash for keys. I want to know if it's worked for you and maybe what you think about it. If you think it's a great thing or a terrible thing, shoot me a comment. Hit subscribe, because again, it's not easy being a landlady or landlord. We are all in this together, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.